Hello, I'm Marlene Spees. Officers from surrounding agencies were called to help with a disturbance this morning. It broke out in what may seem an unlikely place among a group known as pundits who live near Fairfield. KTVO's Kate Alt was on the scene this morning. She joins us now with an explanation of this somewhat mysterious group. Kate?
Thanks, Marlene. Well, the incident happened about 6 o'clock this morning, but before I get into what happened, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of background about the pundit campus and what these people are doing here. Now, pundits are men who've come over from India. They're here for about 2 years. They're paid $200 a month to chant and meditate. They're not associated in any way with Maharishi University. They're just here to chant and meditate. They're paid $200, as I said. $150 of that is sent back to their families in India. So that's why they come over. They come over with a visa for those 2 years. Now, getting into the incident from this morning, what it seems like is one of the pundit community members was being escorted off of the property to be taken back to India for internal reasons. About 70 to 80 of his fellow pundits took offense to that, got very rowdy. Now, the security personnel on the campus called the sheriff's department to bring them onto the scene for additional backup. And it was then when the sheriffs arrived that the pundits got really rowdy. They surrounded his car, shook his car, kicked out his rear light. They're also throwing rocks at his car and punched out the back of his window. They tried to rip out the mirrors as well. He called for additional backup. More sheriff's deputies came on the scene. They were able to get the pundits back onto their campus, who knocked off the gate to their entrance to the campus. Now, Marlena, I know how the sheriff's deputies must have felt, because when I drove by the scene this morning and this afternoon, I got to admit it was a little frightening. There were still about 60 to 70 pundit members outside. They were very rowdy, and they weren't causing any damage or being violent anymore, but they were still outside. They were yelling, they were hollering. When our cars pulled up to the scene, they surrounded us, they were waving us over. It was really hard to tell whether they were excited, whether they were angry, whether they were still riled up over this incident, but they surrounded us very quickly. We were able to drive over the gate that they had knocked down and kind of get out of the way and regroup a little bit until we found out more about what was going on. Now, there are a lot of different opinions on the pundit, on their program, about what they're doing here. We went to the Law Center. No one would talk to us there on camera, so we did talk to a couple Fairfield residents to get their opinions on. The first woman that you're going to hear from, she didn't want to go on camera, but she said that she thought this whole rally and riot started because these people are afraid that when they go back to India, they're going to lose that money, and they don't want to leave after 2 years. So we'll go ahead and show you what the Fairfield residents told us today.
The movement will probably say, oh, look, they want to stay here. That's not the truth. If you're staying in a better country working for your family that can't eat and lives in, squalor, then you're not going to want to leave. That's what happens, and that's what I think that this is coming from.
I wouldn't be surprised to learn that they were holding people against their will because they have a history of violating human rights. They just don't treat their people very well.
They were actually brought over for very high goals, so it's kind of too bad if they are rioting right now.
And now, we did try and get in contact with a representative of the pundit program. We weren't able to talk to him until late this afternoon, and then he was only able to send us a press release just a couple of minutes ago, giving a little bit of a view of what happened after this event and the view of the pundits and Maharishi. So we're going to have a little bit more on that information coming up tonight on KTVO News at 6. So for now, Marlene, we'll go ahead and send it back to you.